Okay guys, we've been promising you a video today. I'm going to keep that promise and give you some ideas on preparations for Shabbat, give you some ideas for making everybody happy and taking all the servitude out of the work for the women or whoever the cook of the house is, because I know sometimes men are. So what I'm going to start with today is just some things I had readily available to me to give you ideas on how to keep the Sabbath. Of course, the most logical one I'll just talk about right up front and get out of the way, is your microwave and the grocery store aisle of convenience foods, whether it's Hot Pockets, pot pies, TV dinners, frozen entrees, almost all of that stuff is microwave ready. So that is your easiest go-to method when all else fails. No, we don't have a microwave. We haven't had in a lot of years, and we've just arranged our life without one. And so this is how we do our food prep. Some of the ideas. This is not all for just our Sabbath, but this is some of the ideas. First of all, let's look at containers. Here I've got a bowl, just a plain old bowl. I'm going to saran wrap this. It's got, for Moshe, it's got a white peach and 2 envelopes of oatmeal. He can just boil the water, pour the amount here to the line for the water, and stir it up, and he's got a good meal to go for breakfast, and I'm just going to cover that with saran. This one is, of course, you might recognize this, grapes. Grape box I got from the grocery store, and I really like repurposing things. Why? We don't have to spend money. We are of those that are on a fixed income, and fixed incomes and what is it called, inflation, don't match very well. So I'm always looking for ways to make our dollar stretch. Anyway, so what I've done here, and this is his breakfast, is I've just cleaned it. I put a paper towel on the bottom. There's a serving of grapes. I've already seasoned his hard-boiled eggs. I know how he likes them. And I made some muffin tops. He's got some muffin tops, and that is ready to rock and roll. I find the person who doesn't work in the kitchen is kitchen handicapped. In other words, this is my world, it speaks my language. When Moshe comes in, this is not his world, and he can't understand the dialect. So I'm making this as easy for him as I possibly can. Let's go, this is dessert. This is still cooling, just made it. This is vanilla pudding with that's got some strawberry jam in the middle. This is got peach jam, and that's just regular plain. So I put it in 3 different packages so you can see. This is an old jelly jar. I'm going to fill this with whipped topping. There's space. When it's cool enough to go in the refrigerator and chilled, I'll fill it with whipped topping. This is a recycle tub. We get this kind and this kind. That's pumpkin seeds. We get this kind all over Israel. Everything comes in them. So I've repurposed this. And then this I use in the house all the time. It's a glass rubber top lid, and it's something we use on a regular basis. But I do like to repurpose things, especially for the Sabbath. This is a salad. Now this is what I'm talking about, kitchen handicapped, because if I were to give him a salad and I would say, honey, there's your blue cheese dressing in the refrigerator, it's on the middle shelf, it looks like this, I would be coming downstairs when he's looking for the salad dressing because he wouldn't be able to spot it. So I've put a serving of salad dressing in a very cheap little bag. He'll cut the tip off. He'll just squeeze it over his little salad there. Okay? Kitchen handicapped cooker resting tips, all right. In this little tin here, which we'll look at these tins more closely later, I've got a leek and spinach quiche. There's just the 2 of us, so I cook full-size servings, and then I freeze the extra entree servings to be pulled out later so we can heat them up for the Sabbath, or if I have a day when I haven't had a chance to cook because we're out of the house, or let's say because I've just been busy, like I've got a lot of laundry and things have gotten behind. I like to have the extra servings saved up, so I go ahead and cook the full-size meals. This one, I brought this one over here. I'm going to open it for you. This one is indeed his meal for one day on this Sabbath. And it looks like this, and I'm showing it to you because you're not going to find, I never look for perfection in what I'm doing when it comes to food storage. I look for something that I can get to work. This was a spaghetti meat sauce I had in the freezer. I pulled the bag out, thawed it. I put it over a linguine noodle, that's what I had. And I've put in this little foil section, what I wanted to show you so that it's not all intermingled. In this little foil section, divot I've made, I've put some frozen broccoli, some seasoning, and some butter. Now this will go in the oven for 20 minutes, and it'll be ready to eat. Okay? And here we go again. This is just a muffin top again, some tuna salad. And to go with it, I've got this little repurposed container that I've got some macadamia, dry fruit, and some cheese. Okay, my little Bronx guy, the little boy in my Bronx man, still likes cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. So that's a cream cheese jelly with a little baggie of pumpkin seeds and raisins. Those are just some ideas. So for instance, if you have a family of 4 and you make a casserole that has 6 servings and you have a serving or 2 of casserole left over, then you can do this. I've got several of these. We'll start looking at containers now, but with your portion or 2 of leftover entree, you can put your entree serving in here, put a vegetable here, like a carb here, like some mashed potatoes, some rice, some pasta. Okay, put the lid on it, write on it like I did the other one I've already put away, and stick it in the freezer. And then you have a serving of somebody's favorite meal for the Sabbath, and you haven't had to do anything. Okay? And the beauty of that, putting those leftovers like that in those containers is then you've got a variety after a while that you can just every so often, every so many Sabbaths, you can just have something that's up there and you can have it earmarked. Oh, I know my husband, this is his favorite dish, so I've got that set up there. And I know my son, this is his favorite dish, and so I've put that back for him. And, you know, everybody gets their favorite on the Sabbath. I kind of like to make it as much of a celebration as I can. Now, with that said, I don't work as hard as I do for the Friday night pre-Sabbath meal to make a huge feast. I can do that, and I have done that. But more these days, I try to prepare things that I know that he's going to love. I don't want him to say, ugh, you know, meatloaf on the Sabbath. I hate meatloaf, which he doesn't, but that's an example. I hate meatloaf. How come I got to eat this on the Sabbath? And take the joy from him. I believe it should be a time of peace, joy, and rest. So, okay, with that said, here are these little metal trays, and I believe you can get these at like a restaurant supply that does carry out products, or possibly even any place that does party supplies maybe. Now they're readily available here in Israel because of the Sabbath phenomena, that most of the country does keep some kind of Sabbath, and so these things have become just all the rage, and I appreciate them. Like I said, we don't have a microwave. I have an electric oven. I put it in. I go tell him 20 minutes it's going to be ready. He takes it out, takes the top off, and eats them. All of them come available with these little lids like this. But really, actually, you don't even need these lids. A piece of foil will suffice. Now, this is the thing that we were trying to tell you the other day for the holidays. If you get into this, and you want to have people over to celebrate the Sabbath with you, or celebrate Yom Kippur, well, that's it, yeah, I would say, let's leave Yom Kippur out of this. Celebrate, let's say, Sukkot, or one of those other days. They do sell these little caddies. I'll call them a caddy. Here in Israel, they're very inexpensive. You may have to pay because, like I say, they're all the rage. You know, everybody wants a beautiful table for the Sabbath, but then we're commanded that, you know, we're not to work on that day. So this changes the whole flavor of this, doesn't it? So you go from this little piece of ugliness to this little piece of beauty, but when the meal's over, take it out, throw it away, no cleanup. So I do like these. These are really nice. So I'm getting ready to use these. We've got maybe some company coming here next month, and I'll be using them at that point. But this is not, I mean, this costs money. I'm going to be the first one to tell you. Here in Israel, it's not so bad. I can get maybe 15 of these for, I think I gave $8 or 8 shekels and 90 cents, which would be 15 for about 220. So the price on that's not really bad anyway. But you don't have to do this if you're just doing a regular Shabbat, and it doesn't bother you to have a sink full of dishes waiting for you until after the Sabbath. And if you don't have a dishwasher, because I do not. So let me give you some other hints. Which, by the way, part of my rest on the Sabbath is not having anything hanging over my head. My husband makes fun of me for cleaning the house before our Sabbath, but I rest if I know that my work is finished. So that's why I clean. It's not because it's commanded to clean before the Sabbath. It's because it's attached to my peace and rest for that day. So you can just take your regular plate. I've done it with a platter, by the way, but let's start here. Take your regular plate, put it with saran wrap, put your food on top of this, and when they're finished eating, go ahead and cover it, the standard form, like a tuna sandwich, chips, and I don't know, fruit. Cover it all, just like this. Saran, food, cover it. Stick it in the refrigerator, let them take the top off when they're done eating, then they've just got to loosen this and put it in the trash. Set this in the sink or the dishwasher if you have one, and it's not really dirty. All you've got to do is just rinse it or leave it in the dishwasher for later. Or, you know, if it was me and it was clean on both sides, and I would put it back because, you know, there's nothing has even touched this at this point. Same thing with this. A great breakfast idea is fruit, nuts, cheese, crackers, and boiled eggs or deviled eggs. I have done standard deviled eggs. I have done deviled eggs with smoked salmon. I have done deviled eggs with turkey bacon. I have done, oh my goodness, you name it. There's just horseradish. There's just, you know, the sky's the limit with your imagination. Only thing I would say is if you do use something salty like salmon or like a turkey bacon, do not salt anything, because that will leach out and fill the yolk, and then it'll be really, really, really salty. I speak from experience, learned the hard way, because a lot of my stuff I've discovered by experimentation. So you can also do just this. And here's another plan for you, and we do this a lot. These are just heavy, heavy, heavy cardboard plates. And see what I mean? This is about $2 for 15 of those plates. And that one's more, but we only use these for the Sabbath anyway. I don't do these for every day, but these are the heavy, heavy, heavy plates. You can do the same thing we've been talking about. Put your food on here, cover it with saran if it's a cold plate, and throw it in the refrigerator. Okay, there's many ways to be successful in planning a Sabbath. Okay, a crock pot. I use crock pots a lot, especially when the weather's cold, not so much when it's warm. We don't want to eat that much warm food. A couple things about the crock pot. You can get a timer. Some of them come with timers. And all you need to do then is, all of mine have the sleeve. Actually, I only have one since we've moved to Israel. I used to have several. But when I had more than one, it was very common, especially in the cold weather, for me to have 2 crock pots for the weekend. One I may plug in for the Friday evening meal, and the other is prepped and waiting to go in before I go to bed for the lunchtime meal. Or I've even had them prepped and waiting to go in Saturday noon for the evening meal. And they're just so great because, you know, you just plug them and walk away, and you know how long it's going to take from what you've put in there to make the food. The other thing is I know that they used to have, and I have to imagine they still do with the convenient world of the U.S., those liners that go into these crock pots, so that when you're done cooking, you just take the whole thing out and throw it away, and your crock is actually left clean. You may have to clean the lid up, but your crock itself is actually left clean. I use these a lot. Now, I will sell that these sit dirty until after the Sabbath, and it kind of calls my name and haunts me a little bit, but one thing I can deal with. But sink full, personally, me, I can't deal with, but that's me. So another thing that I have and have used is a warming tray. Another thing that's good for families is a steam tray. Those little, like you can get at the wholesale clubs, they have those little three divot, three tray steamers that you can plug in and keep your sides warm with, or even your main dish. Those are great. Now, one more thing I'm going to show you, and then I'll be quiet because we've talked about plenty today. A whiteout board, or whiteout, no, not whiteout, a whiteboard. This is my brain. That side I've got, like for instance, things that need to be repaired in the house. I've got a list going for the man we rent from. The center column is my grocery list. This column is my preparation list of things I need to do with my own coding, and as I get them done, I cross them out, and this helps me be organized and get things done quickly and easily for the Sabbath. So this is something to consider. You don't need a board per se, but it's easy if, for instance, I get to, let's say, the tuna salad, and oh, I don't have an ingredient that I know he likes in his tuna salad. I can just erase it. In the center column right over there, what it is I'm out of, so I don't forget it next time. Plug something else in and never miss a beat. So this is something to consider. It's also a whiteout board. That's all I can think of. Some of you lovely ladies may have been doing this a lot longer than I have, or some of you may have thought of some tricks that I have even yet to think of, because you know a whole bunch of brains make for a lot of ideas, and I'm just one brain. Anyway, if you have any questions or if you have some suggestions, drop us a note on YouTube. Go to the, I forget where he says to go, but you know, you've listened to him enough. And send the question, send the comment, and we'll include this with the rest of our videos. And maybe this week it's not enough warning, but you know, you can start. And here's the thing. We start and we do what we can do, and as we learn to do better, we do better. But we always plan to succeed and never to fail. We never say, oh, that's too hard, I can't do it, I'm just not even going to try. A lot of people here in Israel do that because the rabbis have put the extra burden of extra commands on them, and they just say, well, it's too hard, I can't do it, and they don't do anything. Well, let's set a better example. Our rules are not cumbersome. The burden that the Lord gives us to carry are not like the rabbinical rules. We can carry them, they're easy. They bring us joy, and they bring us peace, and they bring us truth. So plan to be successful in honoring the Sabbath and communing with your Lord. All right, guys, thanks a lot.